यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं। नमो विष्णुपादाय श्रीगौरप्रियमूर्तये श्रीमते भक्तिवल्लभतीर्थगोस्वामी नामिने। कृपया क्षमतामपराधिजनं कलुषायुतशक्तसुदीननरं सुपथे परिचालय सर्वदिनं। प्रणमामि च माधव देवपदम्। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ग्रंथेरारंभे करिमंगलाचरण गुरु वैष्णव भगवान तीनेरस्मरणे होय विघ्न विनाशन अनायासे होय निज वांछित पूरन। So today's appearance of Sri Bhakti Aloka Paramahamsa Goswami Maharaj, one of the associates of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur. He is one of the leading preachers of Mahaprabhu, of Prabhupada's mission. So in this book, Saparshat Prabhupada, Associates of Prabhupada, a very brief life history of Srila Paramahamsa Maharaj is written. So we will hear that first and then we will go through Srimad Bhagavatam after that. This one? Yeah. This one is compiled by one disciple of Srila Bhakti Kumud Sant Goswami Maharaj. His pranam mantra of Paramahamsa Goswami Maharaj is Namo Om Vishnupadaya Prabhupada Priyatmane Srimate Bhakti Aloka Paramahamsa Namine Ashesha Klesha Nashaya Shri Gauranga Santoshanaya Cha Krishna Sevarti Pradhanaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So this is pranam mantra. He took birth on the first day of the bright fortnight. This is the bright fortnight starting from today is the bright. Yesterday was Amavasya. Amavasya means dark fortnight finished, and starting from today is the bright fortnight. From now the moon will gradually go up to full moon in the next 15 days. So today is the first day of the Vaishakha, in the month of Vaishakha, the first day of the bright fortnight. So he appeared on this particular tithi, and right from his childhood and particularly in the later part, he was completely devoted to Nam Bhajan. He was fully devoted to Nam Bhajan, means he used to perform Harinam, a lot of Harinam. His father named him Sri Mahendranath. After he took birth, his father named him Sri Mahendranath, and later when he took Diksha from Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he became Sri Mahananda Brahmachari. So he was a brahmachari from his childhood itself. He was Mahendranath in his house, and later after Diksha he became Sripad Mahananda Brahmachari. And Prabhupada himself has given him the title Bhakti Alok. Every year, annual Navadvip Dham festival in the Vishwa Vaishnava Raj Sabha, Prabhupada used to give, awards to disciples. In our mat also still that practice is there. Seva Nishtha, Seva Pran, different titles are there. So, he was given Bhakti Alok. Alok means effulgence, light. Bhakti Alok, the effulgence of light. He is given the title Bhakti Alok. He was actually very, very humble, very devoted, and staunch faith towards the service of the lotus feet of Sri Guru. By seeing all these extraordinary qualities, he was given the title Bhakti Aloka. And Prabhupada, in fact, after he joined the mission of Prabhupada, he had engaged him in Bhagavat Press. In Krishnanagar, there is Bhagavat Press. There was, I don't know it is there now or not, but Prabhupada had started Bhagavat Press. And he was given the responsibility of, printing in Bhagavat Press. And, Srimad Bhagavat, Prabhupada had printed Srimad Bhagavatam in Bengali. So all of this has happened from this press only. And at that time, the king of Krishnanagar, when he wanted to print a book one time, he could not find a proper printer, and then he approached, our Bhagavat Press, Prabhupada's Bhagavat Press. And then this Prabhu, who was in charge of printing at that time, he had printed in such a manner that there was not a single mistake seen in the printing. Then the king was very much satisfied. Previously, Krishnanagar used to be ruled by the king of Krishnanagar. So he was very much satisfied, and from that point onwards, he used to get all his books printed from his Bhagavat Press only. Earlier, he used to get it printed from Calcutta. But when he saw the quality of printing, and then he saw that there is not even a single mistake, typing mistake, he gave the responsibility. It means he used to print the books from this press only. So Prabhupada gave him this, service of, Bhagavat Press. It is there. He printed many books, and then later he has also given the service in the management committee of Sri Chaitanya Math Mayapur. Mahendranath Brahmachari, right? Mahananda Brahmachari. Mahendranath is his previous name. Mahananda Brahmachari. He was also given the responsibility of some management committee in Chaitanya Math. Prabhupada gave him that responsibility. And it is after Prabhupada's departure, he has taken shelter of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. He took sannyas from him, and then he became Bhakti Aloka Paramahamsa Maharaj. And also he associated with several other devotees. Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. He went to various places with Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj for preaching purposes. And also he stayed for several days in Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti in Navadvip Dham. He stayed for several years there. And later he also associated with Bhakti Bhudeva Shrauti Goswami Maharaj, another disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And then later, several years later, I think in 1986, he disappeared in Navadvip Dham, Nishidham Mayapur itself. He entered into the eternal pastimes of Shri Radha Govinda. So these are the few events of life events of Srila Bhakti Alok Paramahamsa Goswami Maharaj, that are compiled in this book. So today we pray at his lotus feet that may he bless us that whatever offenses have been committed knowingly or unknowingly, may he rescue us or forgive us from those offenses, free us from those offenses, and give us the service of the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Vaishnavas. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. So we are hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 5th chapter, verse number 4. Narada Goswami appeared in front of Vyasa Muni, and then he is inquiring from him whether his Atma, which has identified itself with the mind and body, deriving pleasure through mind and body or not. And then further he says that you have got the knowledge of dharma. You have also performed activities of dharma. Therefore, I don't see the unhappiness in you is due to lack of knowledge or lack of not being able to perform those activities. Further he says, you have also written Mahabharata, which implies that you have thoroughly gone through the scriptures and you have got all the knowledge. So your dissatisfaction is not due to lack of knowledge or lack of not performing activities, dharmic activities. And now in the verse that we are currently going through, he says, Aru he tattvavid nitya je parabrahma swarupa tahau apni vichar koriya prapta hoiya jan. He is telling that, he tattvavid, O knower of tattva. Knower of tattva. Tattva means you have understood the absolute truth. O knower of absolute truth, you have also realized the Parabrahma. It's not only that you have understood or have knowledge about the dharma and you have performed those activities, but you also have realized the Parabrahma, the absolute truth. You have analyzed carefully on that and you have also realized him. But yet, I am seeing you as unhappy, as if you have some unfulfilled desires. You see, even if a person has achieved so many things, if he has not attained his own personal goal or target, then he is still dissatisfied. He might have attained so many things, but his goal is not all these things. His goal must be something else. If that goal is not attained, he will remain unfulfilled. Isn't it? Sometimes we have a good job, we have good package, we are getting good money, but still we are not satisfied. It happens because the work is not according to our mentality. That's why people say there is no work satisfaction. Money satisfaction is there, wealth is getting, but there is no work satisfaction. Or there is no family satisfaction, means family is not favorable or is not good. So when a person has a particular thing unaccomplished or unattained, he is not blissful. So now Narada Goswami is telling that you have got the knowledge of all the dharma shastras, scriptures in relation to dharma. You have also written Mahabharata, and you yourself have performed all the activities in relation to dharma. Therefore, it cannot be the reason for your unhappiness. Now, you also have carefully analyzed about the Brahman and you have realized about him also. But yet, what is making you unhappy? Why are you still unhappy? Is it that there is some unfulfilled desire in you? Is the question. Now, we heard the purport by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and we just started the purport by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, but that is 2 days ago. We just read 3-4 sentences, so we will continue again from the very beginning because we might have already forgotten what we heard 3 days ago. So Prabhupada is saying that here Narada Goswami addressed Vyasa Muni as Prabhu. Vedavyasa Muni is a disciple, Narad Goswami is Guru. Guru is addressing disciple as Prabhu. So what is the meaning of Prabhu here? Prabhupada is writing, Shri Gurudev Narad Shishya Vyasake Prabhu Sambodhane যে বাক্যে বলিয়াছেন তাহাতে শিষ্যের দিব্য জ্ঞান লাভের কথা পাওয়া যায়. When Narad Goswami, the Guru, is calling his disciple Prabhu, addressing him as Prabhu, means master, it indicates that Vedavyasa Muni or the disciple has attained divine knowledge. A person who has attained divine knowledge, he is our master. He may be, younger in age to us, but a person who has attained divine knowledge, he is our master. Our, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu one time asks Mukunda, Mukunda, I have a doubt. Please clarify my doubt. What is it? Whether you are father of Raghunandan and Raghunandan is your son, or is Raghunandan father and you are his son? I have this doubt, please clarify. Biologically or through age, it is Mukunda who is the father and Raghunandan is the son. Now, any sane man will say that your question is insane. My age is superior to this person, therefore I am the father and he is the son. Where is the doubt? But Mukunda replies, Raghunandan is my father and I am his son. Because from where Krishna Bhakti flows, he is superior. My son, Raghunandan, he has got affinity to serve Gopinath, and Gopinath has given darshan to him, Gopinath has taken service from him. Therefore, it is through him we have got devotion in us. So, he is our father, he is my father and I am his son. I have clarified your doubt. He says, now your doubt have been cleared. Then Mahaprabhu says, yes, you are right. A person in whom there is Krishna Bhakti, he is always our superior. Age is not a factor here. Number of years of matavas is not a factor here. I am staying in the mat for 20 years, 30 years, therefore I am senior. Dhruva has performed bhajan only for 6 months. 6 months. So we have 30 years we are performing bhajan. No darshan of Supreme Lord. In 6 months he got darshan of Supreme Lord. So age is not a factor here. So here Vedavyasa Muni, Narad Goswami is confirming the fact that Vedavyasa Muni has got divine knowledge. That is why he addressed him as Prabhu. যিনি দিব্য জ্ঞান লাভ করিয়াছেন তিনি তাহার অধীনস্থ দেহ ও মনকে কৃষ্ণোন্মুখতার জন্য অনুগ্রহ এবং হরিবিমুখতার জন্য নিগ্রহ করিতে সমর্থ. A person who has attained divine knowledge, a person who has material knowledge, this person is always running after sense pleasures, where I can get more and more sense pleasures. But a person who has attained divine knowledge, he can very carefully engage his sense organs in all the activities that are favorable to Krishna Bhakti, and he can control all the activities that are detrimental to Krishna Bhakti. A person who has got divine knowledge. As long as that divine knowledge is not there in us, as long as only theoretical knowledge is there, our sense organs will be running towards material sense pleasures. We cannot control them. It's very difficult to control the mind and sense organs, because even though we have got knowledge, it is theoretical. But when it becomes a divine knowledge, means when that knowledge descends, it has not descended yet. It is just we have got some bookish knowledge. We are reading. It has not descended yet. When it descends, when will it descend? When we sincerely pray, when we are reading Bhagavatam. When we are reading Bhagavatam, we are submitting to Srimad Bhagavatam and praying to Srimad Bhagavatam, you please reveal to me then that divine knowledge will be revealed. Otherwise, I am just doing a theoretical study, academic study, just going through. So then we may not get the real welfare. Of course, it is useful. Slowly, Nityam Bhagavata Seva, daily if we do that, then Bhagavat will see our sincerity. Not one day I am doing, 2 days I am not doing, again 4 days I am doing, one day I am not. No. Nityam, every day when we are doing service to Bhagavata, either Bhakta Bhagavata or Grantha Bhagavata, devotee or book Bhagavata, then that Bhagavat will grace us so that we get that knowledge. So here Vedavyasa Muni is telling, Narada Muni is telling that Vedavyasa Muni has got a person who has got divine knowledge, that person can very carefully avoid utilization of his sense organs in those activities that are detrimental to devotion and engage in the activities that are favorable to devotion. Jini nigraha anugraha kurite samartha tini samagra अंतर्बाह्य जगतेर प्रभुत्व लाभ करियाछेन सेरूप अवस्थाय ताहार स्थूल सूक्ष्म देहेर वृत्ति प्रबल होइते पारे ना. A person who has controlled, who can control his external and internal senses, inside and outside. You see, some persons may be able to control what is outside, but they have no control over what is inside. Hiranyakashipu, when he comes in front of Prahlad Maharaj and he says, "How dare you are? Everyone is fearful of me. I have terrorized the entire world. Entire world is in my control. You're not fearing me." Prahlad Maharaj says, "My dear father, you have not become victorious over your own internal enemies. And you think that you have become victorious over the whole world. A person who has not become victorious over his own internal enemies, how can he become victorious over the entire world? What are the enemies inside? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. These are the 6 enemies. Lust, greed, anger, jealousy, attachment, and Mada, intoxication, means material intoxication. These are the 6 enemies that are lying inside. A person may, boast himself to have conquered the whole world. Everyone is under his control. But his own mind, which has these 6 enemies, is not under his control. How can that enemy be called as, a great conqueror of the whole world? He cannot be so. On the other hand, Rupa Goswami Pad, he writes in the very first verse of Upadeshamrita, Vacho Vegam, Manasah Krodha Vegam, Jihva Vegam, Udar Upastha Vegam, Yetan Vegan Yo Visha Heta Dhira, Sarvam Apimam Prithivim Sashishyat. Who is a person who has conquered the whole world, or a person who can really make disciples all over the world? Vacho Vegam, a person who has control over his speech. Tongue wants to eat nice food and tongue talks so much rubbish. A person who has no control over his own tongue or speech, how can he be called as conquering, a person who has conquered everything? No. Manoveg, and the urges of the mind. A person who has not controlled the urges of the mind, he cannot be called as, he cannot make disciples. He cannot, dictate others. Krodha Vegam, anger. Jiva Vegam, the urges of the tongue. Udara Vegam, the urges of the belly. And Upastha Vegam, the urges of the genitals. These are the 6 urges. A person who has, become victorious over these 6 urges only, Sarvam Api Mam, Prithvim Sasishyat, only such a person has got the capacity to accept disciples, or he has got the capacity to discipline others. So here he is telling that a person who can control the sense organs, internal and external sense organs, Jagater Prabhutva Labh Kuriyachan, and he has become the master. Serup avasthai tahar sthula sukshma deher vritti prabal hoite pare na. At that time, their external or gross senses and subtle senses, they will never become uncontrolled or unrestricted. A person who has control from within and outside, without, such persons gross and subtle sense organs activities cannot be they cannot run after material sense gratification. Sthula Sukshma Jagat Darshankari, he is telling what is the meaning of Prabhu. Who can be addressed as Prabhu? Prabhupada is writing here, Vedavyasa Muni is addressed as Prabhu by Narada Goswami. What is the meaning of Prabhu? He is telling Master. We call, hey, you are not calling me Prabhu. How dare you have come after me in the mud. You are so junior and you are not calling me Prabhu. We say. But the thing is that we have no control over our own anger and greed. That itself is signifying that we have not yet become qualified to be called as Prabhu. Isn't it? But we want respect from others. What kind of this thing is? Prabhu means this. That is why always they devotees, they never say themselves as Prabhu. They say Das. I am not Damodar Prabhu, I am Damodar Das. I am not Damodar Prabhu, or I am not Jagadish Prabhu or some other Prabhu. I am Das. I am the servant. So here, Sthula, Sukshma, Jagat Darshankari, Indriya Tarpane Vyast Thakai, Tahar Klesha Ba Ashanti. You see, when the gross and the subtle sense organs are taking pleasure only in the external material world, there cannot be any bliss or happiness. Means Prabhu means a master. He has control over all these sense organs. He will always be blissful. But when one has not attained Prabhutva, means when he has not attained the control over these things, he is always subject to dissatisfaction and troubles in this world. Goswami te evam prakar ashanti sambhav par nahe. A person who is addressed as Goswami, he cannot be unhappy. Goswami means he will be happy. Why? Because Go Swami. Go means senses, Swami means master. A person who has control over his sense organs. He knows where to engage the sense organs and where not to. And how can that person be not happy? So we are addressing Goswami, but he is unhappy. It is not possible. Nirbishay Vaishnav ke Goswami Prabhu Prabhriti Sambodhan Dosha Bahanai. A person, a devotee who is nirbishay, he has no material attachment, no desire for material sense gratification. He will be addressed as Goswami or Prabhu. It is he who is eligible to be called as Goswami or Prabhu, not everyone. These days it has become a fashion, Goswami. Everyone is, putting Goswami. But Goswami is not, anybody and anybody is entitled for. Goswami is a person who has actually control over his own sense organs. Jagater uchchavacha bhave যে বৈষম্য বা অবরতা উৎপন্ন করে ভক্তি রাজ্যে সেই রূপ অনুপাদেয় ও অপ্রিয় নশ্বর ভাব নাই। দিব্য জ্ঞানের উদয়ে ব্যাসের জগৎগুরুত্ব ও হরির আবেশাবতারত্ব বিচার করিলে এবং শ্রী নারদের মহাভাগবতত্বে ওই প্রকার উক্তির সামঞ্জস্য আছে। So he is telling that, like in this material world, we are sometimes happy, sometimes in distress. Why? Because we are carried by our material sense organs. When material sense organs, they are deriving happiness out of an object or out of a person, then we are very happy. But when those material sense objects, they are not able to derive happiness out of an object or a person, then they become unhappy. Means our happiness or distress is directly dependent upon whether our sense organs. But for a Goswami or for a Prabhu or for a devotee, it is not so. They are not happy and distressed at different times of time. They are always happy because they are engaging their sense organs in the service of Ananda, supreme bliss. Therefore, there is no question that they will not get happiness, or they will be unhappy, or they will be distressed, or they will be in anxiety. It's not possible. But we also see that Mother Yashoda is anxious. The Brajavasis, they are very anxious, they are very frightened by seeing the demon. What kind of fear is it? What kind of anxiety is it? Transcendental. That's also anxiety, that's also fear. That fear and anxiety is in order to enhance the pastimes or the mellows there. If there is no covering of Yogamaya in the transcendental spiritual world, then there cannot be variety of these pastimes. Even though Krishna enjoys pastimes in 5 different mellows, there are 7 mellows, they are secondary mellows, out of which fear, humor, wonder, chivalry, all these things come. So he also is sometimes feared. The devotees are also, they are also becoming fearful of certain things. But this is to increase the transcendental beauty and richness of that particular realm. That is the purpose of it. But now in the current world, in the present world, whatever in this world, whatever happiness, distress we are getting is due to our attachment to the sense organs, and when the sense organs are getting happiness, we are happy, otherwise we are not. So, Divyagyaner Udaye Vyasadever Jagadgurutva. So, because the Vedavyas Muni has got divine knowledge, he is Jagadguru. Means he is the one who can control the entire world, because he has controlled his own sense organs. He has controlled his own internal and external sense organs. Therefore, he can control the whole world. A person who has no control over his own sense organs, how can he control others? Impossible. So, Vedavyas is called Jagadguru and Harir Avesh Avatar, and he is also the Avesh Avatar. He is an empowered incarnation of Supreme Lord. Therefore, Narada calling him as Prabhu is very much befitting. Prabhupada is giving a reasoning, even though Narada is a guru, why is he calling Vedavyasa as Prabhu? He is giving the reason because he has control over the sense organs. He is the master, he is the Jagat Guru, and he is also Avesh Avatar. He is the empowered incarnation of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Therefore, he is addressed as Prabhu here. Now, there is also another another word, Brahma, that is used here, but I don't think we can proceed for much. Okay, 1 or 2 sentences at least. Brahma means, he is explaining, Tattvavidgan boliya thaken Brahma Paramatma Bhagavan Advaya Jnana Tattva. In Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, Vadanti tat tattvavidah tattvam yad jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. Advaya Jnana. Advaya Jnana means non-dual substance. One without a second and which is indestructible, that cannot be divided, undivided truth. Non-dual, undivided truth. Advaya Jnana. That Advaya Gyan is realized by the great persons, transcendentalists, as Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan in three different aspects. He is a non dual substance and undivided truth. How can that undivided truth be understood in three different aspects? He is undivided, he should be understood in only one way, that is transcendence. Transcendence means variety. There is variety in transcendence. In this material world, there is no variety. But in that spiritual realm, there is variety. So that same undivided truth is realized in three different aspects: Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. बृहत्व ओ पालन शक्ति द्वयेर प्रकाश हेतु ब्रह्मेर निर्देशेर सहित वैशिष्ट्य निर्दिष्ट है. Now Brahman is Brihatva, is all pervading. The Lord has three different features: Vibhutva, Anutva, Madhyamatva. Vibhutva means all pervading, existing everywhere. That is Brahman. As Brahman, as a vast principle, he is pervading everywhere. Brahman is here, Brahman is there, Brahman is everywhere. There is no place without Brahman, existence of Brahman, all pervading truth. And the other is Paramatma, that is Anutva. That's the localized aspect. One is it's a expanded aspect, that is Vibhutva. Other is Anutva. Anutva means very, very minute. That is Paramatma. The Lord is sitting as Paramatma, which is very, very minute. Atma itself cannot be seen. So minute. What to speak of Paramatma? So Paramatma, as a minutest part, he is Paramatma. As a huge, all expanding, all pervading, he is Brahman. And there is another aspect that is called Madhyamatva, intermediate, in between. That is Bhagavan, that is Supreme Lord. He is neither very minute nor very vast. That is the Bhagavan feature. The Bhagavan feature is the intermediate form. In these three different forms, he is eternally existing. And that is why in these three different forms, everyone is, or the transcendentalists are able to realize him. बृहत्व पालन शक्ति द्वयेर प्रकाश हेतु ब्रह्मेर निर्देशे प्रकृतिर सहित वैशिष्ट्य निर्दिष्ट है. Now, because of all pervasive thing, because of the potency to maintain the entire world, Brahma or the Brahman is different from Prakriti. There is a distinction between Prakriti, nature. Even though Prakriti is coming from Brahman, Prakriti is localized in the sense that it's not all pervading. And Prakriti has no independent nature of its own to maintain others, because Prakriti itself is being maintained. Now, if, for example, we are not able to derive electricity in our own house, can we share electricity in another's house? We are not connected to the electricity department, or we are connected but there is a shortage of power, or there is a load shedding. Now if someone is saying that in my room there is no power, please give me some power, can I do so? I cannot do so, because the source from which I am receiving, I can only supply after I receive it. So the point is, the Prakriti itself is a dependent principle. Brahman is an independent principle. Prakriti is a dependent principle, therefore Prakriti is not a maintainer, nor is it all pervading. So in this manner, Brahman and Prakriti are two different subjects, means there is a distinction between the two. So there is still further purport, but we have no time. We will stop today, and then maybe we will continue after 2-3 days, because tomorrow is Bhakti Vichar Jajor Goswami Maharaj's appearance day. We have, we will read about his, wonderful pastimes. After tomorrow is Chandan Yatra, Akshay Tritiya. So we will hear about those pastimes day after tomorrow, and after that we will continue. वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग गांधर्विका गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन पंचतत्वात्मक श्री गौर हरि की जय. जय परमाराधितम पतित पावन स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति वल्लभ तीर्थ गोस्वामी श्री गुरु महाराज की जय. नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति दयित माधव गोस्वामी महाराज की जय. जगत गुरु श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की जय. श्री श्री रूपानुग गुरु वर्ग की जय. श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. जय सपरिकर श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन श्री श्री राधा गोविंद श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ जीव की जय. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की जय. श्री कृष्ण द्वैपायन वेदव्यास महामुनि की जय. जय नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद प्रभु स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति आलोक परमहंस गोस्वामी महाराज की जय. यदि शुभ आविर्भाव तिथि पूजा की जय. श्री श्री हरिनाम प्रभु की जय. श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय. निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल.